Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Minister, you're very welcome, and I too want to commend you for your commitment to special education needs. Your office is always available. You are always available, and we are very grateful for that. I hope that your legacy will include the reorientation of this system that puts the weight on parents and families to secure appropriate accommodation for their children, instead of the state automatically stepping in, because I do think that the experience that parents have is upside down, and it forces people that have enough on their plates, too much on their plates, to fight for vulnerable children. They're competing for places in schools. They go through an arduous application process where it's rejection after rejection. The planning and application process must work seamlessly together so that children are guaranteed a place in their local community. That is led by the CNOs, and that hasn't been the case in Dublin 15, unfortunately, and that it's not being led by the parents. I support this legislation, and like everyone else does, but I also feel that nobody wants it. Nobody wants to see it being used in the first or the last place. And I think it is definitely necessary for schools that haven't responded appropriately to the urgency and the stress that this causes families. But I think we do have to ask the question. We have a minister whose #1 priority is to increase special school and special class places until every single child in the country has a place in their community, and has overseen the opening of 300 special classes last year. And we see how July provision isn't being delivered. But we also have schools, and I think that I speak for Dublin 15 and my work with the schools in Dublin 15, that only want the best for their students. They are committed to inclusive, child-centred and rights-based environments, whether that's Ukrainian children that have been welcomed into the classroom, responding to changing and growing special education needs by opening classes, or managing multilingualism and ethnicities in a respectful and sensitive way. And there is a disconnect between what the department or the NCSE describes as reasonable efforts to support a school in making the required provision, and then when you speak to a school, concerns around their resources, facilities and supports. And that gap has to be bridged between the NCSE and schools for the system to work, and for us to avoid having to use the Section 37A in the first place. I would ask you, Minister, to come and visit Danu Special School again. You were out in the building before they moved in. John Carney was there last week. We have discussed this before, but you know how you know the demand for the behavioural practitioner, that be awarded, that be granted to Danu, who really desperately need it, and other schools do have it. I'd also say that when it comes to the ratios, this is a system where the one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work. And we do need to examine those scenarios with SNAs, with special classes and special schools where the ratios aren't meeting the demands of the school staff, and just the site for Danu as well. We committed to a purpose-built state-of-the-art building. The needs are only growing. Please look at the urology site in Blanchardstown. Thank you.